Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at some black metal. Specifically we're going to be looking at a band called HOR. H-O-R. Now, having never heard of the band before, I had to try and find out some information about them, as I usually do, and what I found was HOR are a Greek black metal duo from Athens, Greece, formed in 2017. That's all I found. And I looked, and I bloody looked, and that is all I could find. So yeah, that's what we've got. They're a black metal duo from Greece. There's 2 members in the band. That's literally all the information I have. Now, the track we're looking at is a track called the Misanthrope, or the Misanthrope, however you want to put emphasis on that word. I do have some lyrics here, so that'll be a good thing. As far as I understand, it is a lyric video as well, but it's always good to have the lyrics alongside it to look at my own leisure. Now, as we know, I do have some quite strong opinions on black metal, so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. So we'll just jump to it. Let's see what we've got. So, the Misanthrope by HOR. Let's have a look. See what we. Right, I'm going to pause that there for a minute. Now, this is, so far, one of the reasons why I don't enjoy black metal very much. It's boring. I mean, we're just over, like, 3.5 minutes maybe into the song, and the guitar riffs have been, well, they haven't changed for 3 minutes. They've changed in pitch ever so slightly, but it's just been the same constant riff, like just strumming up and down on the same string constantly for 3 minutes. It's so boring. It's not music to me. You know, I know some people really like it, but there's no variation in the music. It's just one constant sound with some guy screaming over the top of it, and that doesn't work for me. You know, it shows no imagination. You know, there's no riffs, there's no melody. It's just one constant droning sound, and that's one of the main things I don't like about most black metal. You know, like this. There's no imagination in it. But that's just me. There might be some variation later on in the track. I don't know. So we'll see where it goes. And we'll carry on. Well, there you go. That was The Misanthrope by HOR. Now, what can I really say? I mean, that is one of the perfect examples of why I don't enjoy black metal very much, because there's nothing in it really that really captures you. I mean, there was a bit in there, sort of a little bit of a musical interlude where they actually played a riff that consisted of more than 2 notes, played repeatedly over and over again. But even then, that little musical interlude, it was the same riff, albeit slightly more complicated than anything they've played before. But it was the same riff, just repeated again and again and again and again. And then it just fell straight back into the old rhythm of the repetitive 2 different notes being played repetitively over and over and over again, albeit with a slightly faster drum beat, because for the most part the drum beat had just been bum tit bum tit bum tit bum. You know, that had all it had been. But then it sort of sped up towards the end, and then after the song had finished, it got interesting right at the end of the song. But even then, it was still a repetitive, simplistic riff with some what sounded like keyboard orchestrations over the top of it. But that actually made the song sound a bit more interesting at the end there. The song itself was just boring. You know, there's no variation throughout the track to actually keep you interested. And, you know, whilst I'm sure they're very, very talented musicians, they're not displaying it very well at all. You know, they're just... This is one of the things this is why black metal is so hit and miss for me. You get really good black metal bands, like you have the likes of Dimmu Borgir and Emperor and stuff like that. You know, they're really good, very interesting bands. They write interesting music. They have variation in the riffs and stuff like that. And then you get bands like this. You know, I'm sure they're very talented musicians, but they just don't seem to put any effort into it. It just seems to be so lazy. You know, it's like, let's just pluck up and down on this string, like, I don't know, 39,000 times for the first riff, and then we'll just move our finger down the guitar neck about 2 notes, and then we'll just do the same again for the rest of the song. That's all it seems to be, and it's just boring, you know. And you hear bands that sound just like this all the time. It's like, how do people find this to be, like, interesting music? There's just nothing in it. And I mean, with the track being called the Misanthrope, or the Misanthrope, however you want to pronounce it, I don't know. Can we guess what the song's about? Misanthropy. A general disdain, dislike, or hatred for humankind. And the lyrics pretty much just describe as much. The Judas kiss and serpent's embrace, the lowest species defiling touch. I despise this human race. I reject your dying god. There had to be that in there somewhere, otherwise it wouldn't be black metal. Enslaved humankind, raped the enlightened day, enemies of our mind, misanthropy all the way. Weak-minded humans, religious worms. Again, throwing religion under the bus, because otherwise it's just not black metal. Destroyers of knowledge, wisdom and light. Controlled pawns, slaves of your god. Lambs of hypocrisy, preachers of lies. Nature does nothing in vain. Misanthropy all the way. Betrayed and wronged in everything, I'll flee this bitter world where vice is king, and seek some spot unpeopled and apart, where I'll be free to have an honest heart. Now, for the most part, the song didn't really make all that much sense. It wasn't really that interesting. It was typical black metal fare, you know, talk about how horrible people are, and, you know, slam on religion. You know, I'm not a religious person at all, but, you know, it's just like such a black metal trope is to say, like, your god is lies, religion is, like, hideous, and I reject your god, etc. It's just such a trope through mostly black metal. But then, as with the song, the very end bit, the last 4 lines of the song, were actually good and interesting lines. You know, for the most part of the song, he's just slamming how horrible humans are. He's saying, weak-minded humans, religious worms, destroyers of knowledge, wisdom, and light, controlled pawns, slaves of you. He's just saying, listing the reasons he hates man. But then at the end, it says, betrayed and wronged in everything, I'll flee this bitter world where vice is king and seek some spot unpeopled and apart where I'll be free to have an honest heart. And I actually like those final 4 lines because they actually have more of a sort of meaning, if not part of a story to it, than the most part of the song, where he's just saying, nasty, nasty, horrible. He's just finding several different ways to say the same thing. Whereas the last 4 lines is sort of like, the state of the world as it is, I don't like it, I can't stand it, I need to get as far away from them as I can. I want to find some quiet place alone where I'm not surrounded by all these, all the wrongs of mankind. I just want to find some secluded place where I can live the way I want to live and be happy with the world as it is. I want to be happy in my own little world. I don't want all this cruelty and, the inherent nastiness of mankind surrounding me. I want to be by myself where I can be happy. So, the very last lines of the song were interesting. The last couple of minutes, last couple of seconds of the song were interesting, but for the most part, it was just boring. There was nothing of interest in the song at all. It was just the same riff droning throughout the entire song and some guy screaming at the top of his lungs over the top of it. So, but again, this is just my opinion on black metal. I do like some black metal, but this, I mean, I don't hate it, but there's just nothing interesting about it. There's nothing enjoyable about it. It's just sort of there, But again, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I really can't think of anything else to say about it because there's nothing to say anything about because there was nothing to the music. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You have a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or even my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, help me create future content, maybe even improve the quality of future content. I mean, I keep hearing people saying that my microphone sounds terrible, and I can't afford to get a new one. So, any help like that would be very welcome. There is an option in Patreon as well where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue. There are a couple of limitations on that option, however, to be fair to other people who suggest tracks through regular means, such as through Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube comments. If you do suggest a track through those regular means, do know it might take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I get suggested so many new tracks every single day that I can't keep up. I can't record videos as fast as I'm getting the suggestions, because I get suggested so many every single day. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it will get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those involving people of the alternative culture. It's something I believe in very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something I've had to deal with for a very large portion of my life. For almost 3/4 of my life, I've had to deal with being attacked verbally and physically just because of my taste in music. And this is something that goes on around the world on a daily basis. People are getting physically attacked, brutally attacked, just because they listen to alternative music. It's a phenomenon I've never ever understood as to why you would violently attack someone, why you would beat someone so severely just because they like different music to you. I mean, what difference does that make to your life in You know, in reality, what difference does that make to your life? You know, it's got absolutely no bearing on your life in any way. You know, unless they're actually blaring that music point blank in your face, what difference does it make? You know, you don't attack someone because they like a different TV show to you, do you? No. You don't attack someone because they enjoy different movies to you, do you? No. You don't violently attack someone because they like different flavoured crisps or ice cream to you, do you? No. So why would you attack someone because they like different music? And you know, it's not just simple little things. People are getting violently attacked. People are getting brutally attacked. Now, people are getting hospitalised. People are getting bones broken, and sometimes even more invasive injuries because they like alternative music. And it boggles my mind. But the thing is, nothing gets said about it. Nothing gets done about it. So, you know, people are getting violently attacked, and nothing's getting done. The last time there was any widespread media coverage of this was 12 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked by a group of 5 or 6 people. You know, they were violently attacked, kicked, punched, stamped on. They had their heads stamped on. And they were beaten so violently that they both ended up in a coma. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He came out of a coma after about a week or so. I can't remember exactly how long. But Sophie was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries. This girl died because she was so violently beaten. This girl was murdered because she liked alternative music. And this was the last time anything was said about this on a widespread basis. And that was 12 years ago. And I can guarantee you, since that violent attack on Sophie Lancaster and Rob Maltby, I can guarantee you hundreds, if not thousands of people from the alternative community have been attacked in a similar fashion, but nothing has been said about it. Nothing has been done about it. And the main reason for that is because no one died. And that is disgusting. It shouldn't take someone's death for a subject to get spoken about. You know, we shouldn't have to wait for someone to be beaten to death before we bring the subject to light. You know, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism. You know, we hear about these on a daily basis. From the most heinous and violent of these crimes, where someone is murdered because of the colour of their skin or their sexual identity or because of their religion, down to the most pathetic, childish act where entitled Karen is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. God forbid. You know, we hear about every facet of these every single day, but we're not hearing anything about these people that are violently attacked, brutally beaten to within an inch of their life, just purely because of their taste in music. And that needs to change. And that's what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. And they want to, you know, they want to fight against it and stop it from happening. You know, they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter die over the course of 2 weeks because a group of small-minded morons couldn't handle the fact that someone had an opinion of their own. You know, what happened to Sophie Lancaster should never have happened, and we most certainly cannot allow it to happen again. And it's really important that something gets done about this, because people are getting severely hurt, and it's only a matter of time before someone gets killed again. And, you know, we cannot allow it to happen. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, you know, a small donation through their website or something simple like one of these Sophie wristbands from their web store, you know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.